Hi and welcome to Optimum TV. I'm Stephen Adams and today I'm joined by Tahira Mathur. Tahira is a volunteer for Muscular Dystrophy UK, which is Optimum's chosen charity of the year. As well as being a volunteer, Tahira lives with muscular dystrophy. So welcome, Tahira.
Thank you very much for having me, Stephen. Pleasure to be here.
Not at all. So most people will have heard of muscular dystrophy and they'll know that it's something to do with muscles, but I suspect a lot of people won't actually know what is. So could you just explain to us, please?
Yes, so as we know, our muscles help us do everything: walk, eat, smile, breathe, pump blood through our bodies. But in people with muscular dystrophy, which is a rare set of genetic conditions, muscles gradually become weaker and stop functioning as they should because they lack the proteins they need to stay healthy. Many might be familiar with Duchenne muscular dystrophy or Becker muscular dystrophy, but there are over 60 different types of muscular dystrophy. And in the UK, I believe it's estimated that 110,000 people, adults and children, live with one of these conditions. Each is very different. Symptoms start at different ages and affect people in different ways. But one thing that remains the same is that muscle weakness and mobility difficulties are common throughout. Some types can also affect the heart or breathing muscles and impact life expectancy. Muscular dystrophies are also progressive, meaning they get worse over time, and there's currently no cure for these. But with ongoing research, there is hope for the future.
Okay. So, Tahira, you live with muscular dystrophy, a particular type, as I understand it. But as you were explaining, muscular dystrophy is something which was progressive, and the first signs can be quite subtle, I guess. And therefore, I appreciate that diagnosis can take some time. Tell me about how you were diagnosed and what sort of length of time it took.
Of course. So I live with GNE Myopathy, a rare form of muscular dystrophy. I had a very regular childhood with no indications when I was young that something was different. But by the time I reached university and through my early 20s, I'm in my early 30s now, I noticed small changes. Walking became a little bit harder. I began tripping or falling, more often for no apparent reason. And I often brushed it off thinking I was just clumsy. But as those falls became more frequent and dangerous at times, I couldn't ignore that something was wrong. That led me to seeing several doctors, having endless tests over a few years, including during the pandemic and while I was pregnant with my son. But finally, genetic testing provided the answer, and it was GNE myopathy. It was a condition I'd never heard of before. Both my parents unknowingly carry the gene, but no one in our family tree, as far as we know, has ever been affected by it. Hearing that diagnosis was a relief. I finally knew what was happening to my body, but the prognosis was much harder. GNE myopathy, as we know, is progressive. It gets worse over time. Most people eventually need a wheelchair, sometimes within 7 to 10 years from the onset of symptoms. Though for others it could take 20 or more years. And realizing there was now a shorter timeline than expected on my strength and mobility was terrifying. And accepting a progressive condition with no cure also isn't easy. Adapting to the physical changes, knowing they'll get worse, is overwhelming. And although I have the support of my doctors, physiotherapists, and so many others, it's a very unpredictable condition. It affects everyone, as I mentioned, quite differently. And while there is some information out there and research taking place within the medical community, they don't always have the knowledge or resources to recognize it or to be able to help patients with ease. And that's why I guess raising awareness is so important. It's not just about my story, but it's also about helping others get the answers and support that they need to be able to live a full life with GNE myopathy or with any other form of muscular dystrophy.
So it sounds like the impacts for yourself are not only physical, but they're psychological too.
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the hardest parts of this is the mental and emotional toll that it takes. Anyone watching this video might just think, oh, she looks fine. And that's the thing. My disability isn't always obvious at first glance. If you see me walking, you'd notice I have a distinct gait. You might spot my leg braces. You'll see me using a walking stick. That's the physical side. But there's also the tougher emotional part and mental part of balancing my disability with the life that I thought I was going to lead and the life that I want to lead. And that brings with it unique challenges. And on the whole, I manage with some adjustments and a lot of help from my incredible support network. But living with a chronic condition like this that has no cure and really no treatments can have a profound impact on your quality of life. The key, I guess, for me is to adapt as you go, seek out moments of joy, and embrace resilience every step of the way. But it isn't easy on the whole.
I'm sure. So you're working with Muscular Dystrophy UK, which is a charity. Tell us about the sort of work that Muscular Dystrophy UK is involved in.
Of course, I'm very proud to collaborate with Muscular Dystrophy UK, or MDUK, as we call them for short. They're an incredible charity, and they've been a lifeline for so many of us living with muscular dystrophy. One of the sort of highlights of the work they do is the amount that they fund and support groundbreaking research for new treatments. So the charity's invested over £55 million into research and made advances that were unthinkable about 10 years ago. Just in the last year, they funded 11 new research projects for different forms of muscular dystrophy, and this is very promising work. But their impact also goes beyond this. And they make a tangible difference to our day-to-day lives by providing essential support services for people living with MD, but also their families and their carers. This could be advice on what mobility aids we might need as our conditions progress, or it could be something deeper, such as connecting us with others with similar conditions who truly understand our experiences, or simply providing reassurance to help us live life to the fullest and manage the challenges we face. So as part of this, I've launched my own dedicated fundraising initiative within Muscular Dystrophy UK, and I'm really honoured that Optimum has chosen this as its charity of the year. So thank you, Stephen and team.
Not at all. Well, that brings me to my final question. If viewers are watching and they'd like to donate, how can they do so?
Well, if you'd like to support this important cause, we would be very grateful. And you can donate through the dedicated Just Giving link linked alongside this video. Every penny you contribute will go directly to Muscular Dystrophy UK, helping support the vital work that they do.
Super. Tahira, it's been fantastic speaking to you. Thanks very much. And viewers, please do go and donate through that link. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you watching Optimum TV? In our bite-sized episodes, we talk to European life science leaders about the hottest trends, innovations and capital market developments in the sector. To subscribe, visit @OptimumComms on YouTube. You can also watch all available episodes on our website, optimumcomms.com.